Velkommen til 3P brevkassen med Graversen og Møller. Vi er 2 psykologer med en fælles passion for de 3 principper.
Her i brevkassen tager vi udgangspunkt i de spørgsmål, oplevelser og overvejelser, som I lyttere måtte have, og belyser dem ud fra det, de 3 principper peger på.
Så lyt med. Måske opdager du noget nyt i dit eget liv gennem de spørgsmål, andre har stillet.
Hej og velkommen til denne episode af 3P brevkassen. Det er en lidt speciel episode i dag, fordi vi har nemlig fået besøg af psykolog Mark Howard, som vil deltage i episoden her og hjælpe os med at besvare det brev, vi har fået. Derfor vil resten af podcasten også foregå på engelsk.
Welcome, Mark. It's a pleasure to have you here. So I'll just give you a little presentation for the Danish viewers. Dr. Mark Howard, he's a licensed clinical psychologist who's been working with 3 principles since 1982, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when he first met Sidney Banks. He went on to become one of the earliest pioneers to bring the 3 principles into the field of psychology, and over the past 4 decades, he has trained a lot of practitioners around the world. He's the founder of the 3 Principles Institute and has mentored psychologists, health practitioners, and educators from many different places. So we are very honored to have him with us today. So welcome, Mark.
Oh, thank you, Martin and Kenny. That was a nice intro. Yeah, I'm just happy to be here and be able to talk with all of you in your audience about this understanding that Sidney Banks brought into the world. It's helped me tremendously in my work as a psychologist, finding the health in people, and also in my life. My marriage now of 52 years, I really attribute it lasting that long to the changes that have occurred in me because of my understanding, bringing me to live more with love and understanding. So I'm just so happy to be here, and let's see what we can discover together.
Okay, so should I read the letter? And I'll try to do it. So we of course received this letter in Danish, and we have translated it, and then I'll try to read it out. Okay. So the letter says, "Hi, Graversen and Møller. Thank you for your exciting initiative. I suddenly felt curious to hear you talk about the spiritual aspect of the 3 principles. As far as I remember, Sidney Banks described the understanding as a spiritual one, but it's not entirely clear to me what that actually means. What do you think spiritual means in general? What does the spiritual aspect of the 3 principles mean to you, if it means anything? Does the spiritual aspect play a role in your work with clients, or do you mainly work with the 3 principles as a psychological understanding? Could the spiritual aspect of the 3 principles be what makes the understanding difficult, or perhaps even impossible, to compare directly with other psychological frameworks in a research context? Perhaps these questions are a bit more general than the format you usually aim for in the podcast, but if you decide to discuss them, I would really look forward to hearing your conversation. Best regards, Christopher." So thank you, Christopher, for this letter. And in the next, 30 minutes, we'll try to discuss this topic. In the beginning, I think spirituality, or the word spirituality, was something that I had a resistance towards it. I used to think that spirituality and religion in a way was the same, and I used to think it was more about faith or believing than and then I'm usually into more science, and I would like to have facts and evidence, And for me, spirituality was hard to get or hard to understand. And I think because of that, I had a resistance towards it. And I think I have been struggling to, go that and look in that direction. I read more about spirituality, and what struck me is that, in a way, it's described as the search for meaning, and the search for meaning of life, maybe, and the search for inner peace. And I'm talking about that all the time, I think, in my therapy. So in a way, I'm working in this way, but just the single word has been difficult for me. And I'm beginning to see that, well, maybe I have misunderstood it. Maybe it isn't that dangerous to talk about and to say that we are working in a spiritual manner. I don't know about you, but yeah, that's the way I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, for me, it's hard to separate it from the understanding that I've evolved over 40 years, in that we are spiritual. We are part of a formless energy that really is our divinity. It's divine. Our true nature is divine. But that's formless. You can't go anywhere to get it. And it's, to me, it's looking to the fact that we're more than just what we are physically in this form, this body, or even in this personal mind. And that we have, we're part of this energy in life that really is formless, that allows us to create life itself. So I don't look at it as a thing that, that's really discussed in many, many texts and textbooks. I look at it like that's life, that all living things have a spiritual nature to them, that could be called godlike. And that's what Sid meant by formless. And the form is us coming into this physical being and having our own personal mind.
So simply that the fact that we are alive is spirituality. Is that
that we are alive? We're spiritual beings, in that that we really have within us, inside our consciousness, this divine power to see life through the lens of love and understanding. So I don't see it as a thing, but more about just a way to look beyond our form, look beyond our personal selves, to the fact that there's something we are a part of that we can't grasp. And it's this formless energy that really is our, like Sid would call it, our divinity. The intelligence of life. We're all a part of that. So, yeah, that's how I would see it now, sitting with you guys.
Yeah. I guess that's also why he said, as I understand it, that it's impossible to articulate or think about, because as soon as you think about it, articulate something about that spiritual domain or energy, it's already put in form, and then it's already away from what it originally is. And I guess that's also why he said that we should look for the feeling, because I always do that a lot in my therapy also, like try to have people like, how does this understanding feel? What's the feeling that you have when we talk about this, instead of how they are intellectually grasping it? So I guess that's also a way to like talk into the spirituality of this, like go with the feeling instead of trying to understand it with our personal thoughts.
Definitely, that he really cautioned us that our spiritual nature or the principles cannot be understood intellectually, but we can realize them through, people might call it insights or realizations, but there's a feeling. It doesn't come from finding your way through intellect. Sid says it's an experience. I think that's what I hear, is that you have an experience of our spiritual nature that then, forms into some thought you get, like insight thought. But by the time you start looking at it through what comes to your mind, you've already not quite describing the feeling. So that's why he said, listen for a feeling. And he always said, the feeling must be positive. If you are really gaining knowledge from the spiritual essence that we are, it must always be positive. And it's love and understanding, you see. So, that's why we can talk about the principles psychologically, and we do. We help people see the nature of thought. But we also want to see that we want people to gain, we want people to go, like you might say, deeper with that, beyond just gaining a sense that they think. We want people to really get a feeling for what they truly are a part of, something grander than anyone can imagine. So as a coach or a psychologist, mental health professional, you sit knowing that the person in front of you and you are both this spiritual energy that we call mind. And you know that that person in front of you has everything they need to right now be mentally healthy with you, were it not for their thinking. So in a way, you kind of sit knowing that they are in a way spiritual. They are this energy that Sid would call the intelligence of the world, the intelligence of the universe. So that's how taking your feeling for the spiritual nature of the principles into your work, you sit knowing that you and your clients or your group are really much more than what they're coming to you for. And you help keep looking there. You keep pointing them there, your way. So like Sid would say, we don't really know who we are. We're more than who we think. We're much nicer, really beautiful, very nice, you see? So that's it. That's a spiritual nature.
Yeah. I heard someone say once that even though we are all the people in the world are different waves, we are all a part of the same ocean. Because we, in trying to understand that perhaps we have a physical boundary in our body, and a physical like distance to other people, but there is a place where you can sense this togetherness in friendship or in love or in and I also experience it with my clients when I can get caught up in something. Oh, I need to fix this problem, or I need to figure out the best way of making an intervention or something. And then I discover that where I'm actually at, okay, I just lost myself in my head in a way. And then I try to find my grounding. I try to find, okay, but I'm right here. I'm in this room. I'm with this person. I'm just right here in the now. And then my feeling is like, yes, it transforms into something much nicer, much quieter, and much lighter. And then I feel the togetherness or the relation with the client like instantly getting better. And it's probably just my experience in it, but there is a kind of energy shift, like where I'm at a distance when I'm in my head and trying to solve something. I lose some of the closeness or the energy connection with the client, and then when I get into my grounding and I go to my heart and it being heartfelt, it's so much more closer, and I feel a much more deeper connection with the client and his or her heart, if you can say that. And to me, that's also that's a kind of way to like go from the form and more into the formless, if you can say that.
I can really relate to that, Martin. Discovering that we are caught up in our thinking, you're trying to figure out what to say next, versus just being in a state of flow, or just being in a feeling, and all the things that we say, just it just come up automatically without us thinking about it. It's much more nice, and I can really sense the connection there. So
that's a level of spirituality also.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, as you say, when we try to put it into form, we try to articulate it, we try to talk about it, then it becomes difficult in a way. But I really do recognize this state of feeling and being there in my sessions. But it's not something that I put into words. Not I don't talk about spirituality in my sessions, but I do think that I do this. I am in that state most of the time, and it's a really nice place to be. Because one of the questions, it was about, how do you bring spirituality into your practice? So in a way, it's a spiritual way of doing sessions, doing talks, because we are trying to be in that feeling. But I don't put it into words. I don't know if you do that. Do you talk about spirituality when you talk to clients, or?
Well, I just love what you've been sharing. It's really the understanding.
Mm-hmm.
It's really what differentiates the work we do from other approaches, in that we can feel a togetherness, a closeness, a heartfelt feeling when we drop out of our own personal thinking when we're with clients. And there's a host of personal thinking I used to get into, including the diagnostic categories, right? I could be sitting there thinking, this person's a personality disorder. And I learned, as you are sharing early on, to drop out of that and see. But what went with that was also seeing that we are the ocean, that my clients and myself are part of this ocean. We are all mind. We are all, in Sid's words, God. It's just that we're just the intelligence of life, love and understanding. Everybody has it. So, knowing this, I can recognize when I get caught up, and like you both were saying, drop out of that back into the quietness of my knowing that we are the same. We are really the same. Once I have that feeling, I feel very close to my clients. Not only that, but I see how to serve. I see how to be. I see what to talk about. It occurs to me what might be said or what to ask. I don't care what your clients, if you're psychologists, are working with. I mean, I saw this, I have seen people with anything you can describe, including psychotic thinking. And they could be in psychotic thinking, but when you are with them, knowing this, feeling in you that they are the same as you, the only thing they're having trouble with is they don't understand they're misusing the gift of thought to scare themselves innocently, okay? But if you sit knowing that, when you approach them, you're going from your heart. You're seeing them as no different than you. And so their ways of talking to you don't distract you. In fact, you look deeper. You're always looking beyond what clients are sharing as their difficulties to the souls that they are, the same energy as you. And also, they've got their own wisdom to take care of themselves. So both of you really are just sharing what is so powerful about working with this understanding. Isn't that something? Mm-hmm. I didn't know this.
Yeah. No.
I didn't know that. First, I didn't know that I was part of mind, and so everybody else is part of mine, and really see that. And I could bring that into my work, and my work would become more loving. My work would become much more human, heart to heart, and it would be easygoing. Again, you know, what helped me is to know that first, and then I would wake up if I got a bit lost in, some thinking about, oh man, this client's really difficult, or man, what am I going to do here? Or, what do I share the principles now? If I get caught up with that, I knew to quiet that down and come back. Like you were both were saying, something inside of you, that feeling of knowing there's the beauty of all of us, the wisdom in all of us. And then that would guide me. Now, what a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, very definitely.
Wow, I mean, yeah.
Okay, do you remember, Martin, we have been talking about this, how different it feels sitting in this kind of sessions if compared to the psychodynamic ways we used to work. It's more, it's lighter, it's funny, it's, we laugh a lot.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's just nice. Yeah.
It's way more playful in a way. It's just much lighter. Yeah, it's much nicer feeling. And also people walk away from my therapies a lot more lighter or happier than before. Because we're not like dwelling in the traumatic stuff or the unhappy stuff that has taking a lot of their lives. We are much more looking into the now and their like the health or their that place inside themselves that are nice and that we know that they have a good place in themselves that they can be in. So that's a lot nicer place to work from than the past traumas.
Yeah, so it's funny. So in a way, you know, I think that some people, you know, when they read, you know, about the principles and they read that it's like they read this word spirituality. I think, yeah, I was one of them, you know. In a way, I had to remove myself from it because I didn't understand what it was all about, you know, and it sounded religious and woo-woo and something like that. But, you know, so in a way, we don't have to talk about it in that sense. We don't need to really understand, you know, what is the word all about, but if we can find this feeling when we work, it's already there. Maybe we don't need to understand it all. And maybe when we try to pursue something and understanding, an intellectual understanding, you know, I couldn't find it. I really tried to understand some of this. And I just, you know, said to myself, well, I don't have to, you know, and suddenly I feel more, it's more present in a way because I stopped looking. I really wanted to understand this oneness. What is oneness? What is it? Please describe it to me. You know, and I kind of, you know, I couldn't catch it. I couldn't find it. I heard some explanations, but I couldn't understand it. But then I just decided to stop it and just, you know, be wherever I was, because I think I've already seen a lot and I can find myself being in this nice spot. And suddenly, in a way, I'm beginning to maybe feel or see something about oneness. And I think we already talked about it today. And, you know, this feeling that we can have when we sit next to our clients and talk to them, and we can go into that state. And if I'm not my personal thinking, but I am more something beneath that or before that, you know, that is me, then I can see that, okay, then we must be the same in a way. Because the personal thinking is what separates us from each other in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Sid never mentioned spirituality. What he did say is we are a spiritual energy, meaning formless energy. And we are. The principles are spiritual, meaning you can't go find them with the intellect. You can never understand the principles with your intellect. Because there's just the rest of your life, you will evolve more understanding of the principles, really. They're a formless energy that allows you to come to life and have an experience of your life moment to moment. And so you, as you pointed out, Kenny, you can't think your way to the understanding of this spiritual essence, but you can stay reflective. You can just let it percolate inside of you. Oh, you know what? I just want to see. What is the fact. What is mind? You know what? I'd just like to see that more. And you leave it alone. You let it just percolate. And like you're saying, all of a sudden you start to get glimmers. And those glimmers are not coming from your intellect. They're waking up this knowledge you already have within your consciousness. So that's how to look at this understanding, and also help your clients work with you, that it's really a work for an understanding, not a strategy. It's helping them be more reflective rather than try to get it and fix something. So you just described the actual ways of seeing more about the principles, and that is, don't try to get them. If you have, if you found something that's made a little sense about the principles, Sid always said, be grateful. Just be grateful. Live in that. Don't try to get more. He would always say, you don't want to go searching to the Himalayas now, Really, I had to learn that I would always downplay something I've seen, a glimmer I got, until he said, that's it. Just be grateful you found something. And then, though, what I've noticed is just if you live there without trying to get more, you get more. You just start to see more of the truth of our what is our true nature. What does that mean? You just reflect on that, and somehow you get something about it. You see it with a little more. But you've got the rest of our lives really to evolve your understanding. And that's beautiful, because I could just be so hopeful that, what these habit patterns that remain for pero someday I may really see beyond one or two of them, You also said something that I tell you, when you can sit with your truth, really, really in your heart, know your client is well inside. Your client has everything they need. Your client is the same as you. It becomes lighter. You can laugh. I could actually at times point out something to my client that I'm noticing, and they'll take it in rather than get defensive. Because I'm coming from this place of, I'm not blaming or judging. I'm just saying, hey, this might be helpful for you to see about what how you're talking about yourself, in life. But so there's no burnout. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Burnout is an idea that comes from being in a lot of thinking when you're with your clients. But when you're in the feeling of togetherness, of both of you on a discovery for your client to wake up, knowledge they need to help them with life, man, that's exciting.
Yeah,
that's thrilling. So first thing that I noticed, after I had heard Sidney Banks and really had that insight, I went back to work, and I realized at the end of the week, I was thrilled. I wasn't even looking for another job, It's like, so anyhow, it's really nice what we're looking at together. This piece here is really the curative aspect. Yeah.
I have the same experience also. Like I'm sitting in a totally different way in my chair, and also at the end of the day, I'm not used up. I'm not feeling heavy or anything. I'm in a good mood and just okay. Now what? So that's a nice. That's a really nice thing to have gotten with this like understanding. But also, one of the other great things I think is that the way I am in the therapy now is just the way I am outside of the therapy room. This is like, it's just been an integrated part of who I am in my private life, in my therapy room, as a dad, as a husband, and it's such a nice feeling to just like be be the same and do the same stuff, no matter where I am in a way. So I think that's I think that's almost the greatest gift, I think, because before I was a psychologist who knew some theory about something that I needed to do in a way, and then because that was what the theory like explained, that this was the right interventions to do and you needed to do this and that, but and it is not because I couldn't like relate to the clients, but it was just in a different way. Now it's just me sitting there, just with me and nothing else, and I think it's much more authentic in a way, and it's just not as difficult because I don't have to do anything. I'll just have to come with who I am and the things I've seen and the things I know inside of my heart that is true, and then I just be with that, and that's all there is to it.
It's much, it's so much easier. It's just, we just have to enter the room and sit there and be who we are, and and help talk about these nice things, and try to help our clients to see some of this, just get a glimpse of it, or and I thought about something we just talked about, this, you said this, Mark, if you're trying to figure it out, you won't see it, you won't grasp it, and we have been talking about, you and me, Martin, how we both met the principles in like a curious way, that we didn't need to go somewhere, we didn't need to get away from a feeling or something, but there was something that we heard that was so interesting that we started to play with it. So we pretended that if this is correct, then this feeling that I'm in right now must be a result of me doing some thinking. Just reflecting on it and playing with it and testing it in a way. And for me, that was a great way of seeing that there was some truth to this. But it was not like a struggle. It was not me trying to get somewhere. It was just an easy, playful thing. And that helped me, seeing some of this, I think. So
I love
the
that.
fact that if you let go, in a way, you open yourself to being able to see something. Yeah.
Well, I love what you're saying too. It's like, it's really being curious. What a difference from trying to get the principle, just being curious about that we're a part of this. What is, just being curious to see it in your life or wonder about it. That's really what wakes up more understanding. Being curious about the nature of life around us and our own, how these principles can create for us an experience of our lives each moment, and just wonder, sit in wonder and curiosity. My goodness, what a open kind of, I don't mean it like this, but like an open vessel to gaining more realization of our true nature and what the principles are, what they mean.
The last question, could the spiritual aspect of the three principles be what makes it understanding difficult or perhaps even impossible to compare directly with other psychological frameworks?
Well, I mean, you can compare. I mean, if you want to. I mean, he also said in research, I think you can compare in research because, there are some really nice published articles. I actually had an actual research of this compared to another approach, like maybe 15 years ago, that's published in a peer-reviewed journal. So you can do that. But why would you want to? I mean, like you could do the research, but why would you want to compare it? It really is something when you talk about human beings having within them the wisdom already to handle their lives toward happiness, love, and understanding. And the only thing in their way is they're not understanding the nature of thought. For example, like, who does that? I think it was you, Martin, that said something about how you're not there thinking about certain kinds of interventions that you could make use of for this person, or how to use a particular strategy to handle this. You could feel in what we talked about today, the feeling of the three of us sitting in the feeling of just being human with a knowing that our clients are healthy.
Yeah, I would like to say also that I noticed that having this, discussion today or this talk today, I'm in a really, really good feeling, speaking about it. Yes.
Me too.
Yeah, and maybe the listeners out there can, I don't know, feel it.
Feel
too.
that.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Hopefully. Yeah, it's been really good. It's been a real pleasure to have you here, Mark. Thank you.
Well, thank you both, Kenny and Martin, for inviting me. And I just love being with you. I enjoy time with you. So this was a pleasure.
We hope that Christoph could use this this talk to something, and perhaps also you viewers could get some helpful insights from this session. So thank you a lot, and thank you for this. And then we'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah, bye. Du har lyttet til 3P Brevkassen med Graversen og Møller. Hvis du selv går rundt med spørgsmål, tvivl eller udfordringer, som du gerne vil have belyst i 3P-perspektiv, så vil vi meget gerne høre fra dig.
Skriv til os på kontakt@3pbrevkassen.dk, og måske tager vi dit brev op i en af de kommende episoder.
Tak fordi du lyttede med, og husk, du har allerede alt, hvad du har brug for inde i dig.